I'm Stephanie, 29 years old, a digital marketer in Seattle building content that helps women overcome trauma and embrace their confidence. For 5 years, I barely spoke to my conservative family back in Riverton, Washington. So when my mom called out of the blue inviting me to a family dinner, I thought it was a chance to reconnect. I was wrong. Right in the middle of that dinner, she stood up, pointed at me, and shouted, "Your career is filthy, a disgrace to this family." Before I could even respond, she ordered me out of the house right in front of my dad and sister. Her words hit like a slap, her eyes blazing with contempt. Stunned and furious, I grabbed my bag and walked out the door, slamming behind me. 1 week later, my phone buzzed. It was her again, her voice softer but strained. "Your sister needs $100,000 for medical treatment," she said, as if she hadn't just humiliated me. My grip tightened on the phone, anger surging. "Dirty money can't save people." I shot back, my voice ice cold, and hung up. I didn't know then that the truth behind her request was far uglier than I could have imagined. A secret that would unravel everything I thought I knew about my family. Before I dive into my story, a journey full of twists, I'd love to know what time you're listening and what city you're in. It's amazing to see how far these stories travel. Growing up in Riverton, Washington, a small town where everyone knew everyone's business, and the church was the center of it all, my family fit the mold of traditional conservatism perfectly. My mother, Denise, ran the household with an iron fist, always quoting scripture to justify her rules. She was the one who volunteered for every church event, baked pies for fundraisers, and made sure we never missed Sunday service. Her word was law, and questioning it meant you were straying from the path. My father, Gregory, was quieter, working long hours at the local mill and deferring to her on family matters. He nodded along to her decisions, rarely speaking up, which left me feeling like he was just along for the ride. My sister Angela, 4 years younger, seemed born to fit in. She joined the youth group early, memorized Bible verses without complaint, and dressed in the modest clothes our mom approved. Angela was the golden child, the one introduced proudly at church picnics, while I got sidelined if my ideas didn't align. My passion for marketing started young. At 10, I got a notebook from an aunt and began jotting down ideas for ads I'd seen on TV, imagining how I'd make them better. By middle school, I was creating fake campaigns for school projects using free online tools to design logos and slogans that empowered girls in my class to speak up. Denise saw it as a waste. "That's not a real skill," she'd say when I showed her my work. "Focus on something practical like teaching or nursing." But I couldn't stop. In high school, I started a blog on a free platform writing about ways teens could build confidence through creative expression. It got a few followers from school, and my English teacher praised it as innovative. That's when the conflicts escalated. Denise found the blog one day and called it frivolous, saying it encouraged vanity instead of humility. She grounded me for a week, insisting I delete it. I refused, hiding my laptop under my bed to keep posting. Things got worse when I saved up for my first laptop by mowing lawns for neighbors. Denise suggested I donate the money to the church, instead calling my hobby selfish. Angela, meanwhile, thrived under the rules. She excelled in choir and never pushed back, which made me the black sheep. I envied her ease, but resented how Denise favored her obedience. One night after I won a school award for a marketing project, Denise dismissed it. "Awards don't matter if they're for worldly pursuits," she said, her voice sharp. Gregory just sat there eating dinner in silence. The real breaking point came senior year. I'd been accepted to a marketing program in Seattle with a partial scholarship, but Denise had other plans. She'd arranged for me to attend the community college in Riverton, studying business admin, so I could stay home and help with church activities. When I told her I was going to Seattle, she exploded. "No daughter of mine will chase foolish dreams in a sinful city," she yelled across the kitchen table. Her face turned red and she slammed her hand down. "You'll end up broke and regretful." I stood my ground, voice shaking. "It's my future, Mom. I earned this scholarship with my work." Gregory tried to mediate weakly. "Maybe we can talk about it," he muttered, but Denise cut him off. "No, if she goes, she's on her own." That's when I discovered the theft. While packing, I checked my college fund account, money I'd saved from birthdays, and odd jobs matched by grandparents. It was empty. Denise had withdrawn it all, claiming it was for family needs. Later, I learned she'd donated most to the church to fund a new wing boosting her status as a generous elder. "It was for a higher purpose," she said when confronted. The betrayal stung deep. I felt robbed not just of money, but of trust. Angela watched the argument wide-eyed, too young to understand fully. With nothing left, I took a bus to Seattle at 18, vowing to succeed despite her. Life in Seattle started rough. I crashed on a classmate's couch the first month, scraping by on ramen and coffee. My first job was waitressing at a downtown cafe, dealing with rude customers for tips that barely covered rent in a cramped studio. Evenings I freelanced small gigs, social media posts for local shops, building my portfolio one assignment at a time. The city was overwhelming with its rain-slick streets and fast pace, but it fueled me. No one here judged my ambitions or quoted Bible verses to shut me down. I reinvested every dollar into tools, a better computer software for campaigns. My breakthrough came 9 months in. A coffee shop regular needed help promoting her women's wellness event. I showed her my old blog samples on my phone, and she hired me for $500. The campaign went viral locally, drawing hundreds. Word spread, leading to more clients, startups wanting empowerment branding. I quit waitressing after a year, focusing full-time. By year 2, I'd launched my own agency specializing in content that helped women reclaim their voices after setbacks. The vengeful drive kept me going. Remembering Denise's dismissal, I pushed harder, turning rejections into fuel. When a big client signed on for a body positivity series, I felt a rush. Proof her frivolous label was wrong, but resentment lingered. Occasional texts from Angela were neutral updates on school or church. Denise never reached out directly, though I knew she monitored from afar. Once a client from Riverton mentioned hearing concerns about my work being immoral. I traced it back to anonymous posts online matching Denise's style. It ignited something, not just anger, but a plan to counter if she ever crossed me again. That rumor was the first hint of her sabotage. A potential partner backed out after hearing things from church circles. I lost the deal, costing me thousands. Brushing it off, then I focused on growth. But it planted a seed. If she kept interfering, I'd fight back. Little did I know her manipulations ran deeper, setting the stage for what came next. Seattle tested me from the start. My first apartment was a shoebox with creaky floors and a view of a dumpster eating up my savings in weeks. I juggled 2 jobs mornings, slinging coffee at a downtown cafe, dodging snarky customers, and nights managing social media for small businesses to pay the bills. Every spare minute went to my blog, now focused on empowering women through storytelling and branding. I wrote about resilience, sharing tips on rebuilding confidence after setbacks. Slowly, it gained traction. A few hundred followers, then 1,000. The grind was exhausting, but it felt right, like I was proving something to myself and to the voice in my head that sounded like my mom's calling my work frivolous. My big break came a year in. A client from that first wellness event referred me to a startup launching a campaign for women entrepreneurs. I pitched a bold idea, a series of social media stories highlighting real women overcoming failure. They paid me $800 more than I'd ever made on one gig. The campaign exploded, shared across platforms, drawing thousands of likes. That job led to others. Nonprofits, small brands, all wanting my knack for authentic empowerment content. I quit the cafe, then scaled back freelance gigs, pouring everything into my agency. By year 3, I'd moved to a small but sunny one-bedroom in Capitol Hill, no longer counting pennies for groceries. My work evolved into something bigger. I started hosting online workshops, teaching women how to brand their personal stories. Divorce survivors, career changers, single moms. One workshop for a group of domestic violence survivors hit me hard. Their stories of reclaiming strength mirrored my own fight to break free from Riverton's rules. My first book, a short e-book on building confidence through marketing, sold modestly, but earned me a regional award for digital innovation. A women's lifestyle magazine featured me in a piece about body positivity campaigns, calling my work transformative. Each milestone felt like a quiet jab at my mom's dismissal, but the resentment never faded. Contact with my family stayed minimal. Angela texted now and then, brief updates about her teaching job or church events. I'd reply with vague notes about work, never mentioning my success. My mom never called, but I knew she lurked. A cousin mentioned seeing her check my blog, though she never commented. I figured she was just keeping tabs to criticize. Then the sabotage started. A major client, a Seattle nonprofit tied to Riverton's church network, pulled out after concerns about my content being too progressive. I dug into it and found anonymous forum posts calling my work immoral and anti-family. The writing style, stiff, preachy quoting scripture, screamed my mom. I traced the account to a Riverton IP confirming my suspicions. It cost me 2 more clients nearly $10,000 in contracts. The betrayal stung, but I didn't confront her yet. I was too busy rebuilding. I doubled down, landing a national campaign for a women's health brand. My workshops grew, some sessions drawing hundreds online. I hired a part-time assistant, Monica, a sharp friend from a marketing meetup, who became my sounding board. When I told her about the forum posts, she urged me to fight back. "Expose whoever's behind it," she said, her voice fierce. I hesitated. I wasn't ready to burn that bridge. But the anger simmered, mixing with memories of the stolen college fund. If my mom wanted to play dirty, I'd be ready when the time came. I kept my distance, focusing on work. Angela's texts grew shorter, her tone off, like something was weighing her down. Once she mentioned feeling stressed but didn't elaborate. I asked if she was okay, but she brushed it off. My dad sent a single birthday card in 5 years, signed only by him, no mention of my mom. The silence from her felt deliberate, like she was waiting for me to fail. I channeled it into my projects, turning pain into purpose. My latest campaign, a video series for cancer survivors, went viral, earning praise from industry blogs. It felt good, but not enough to erase the sting of those anonymous posts. Then out of nowhere, my phone lit up with a call from Riverton. It was my mom's number. My stomach knotted. We hadn't spoken in years. Her voice was calm, almost warm, asking me to come home for a family dinner. "It's important," she said, dodging my questions about why. I stared at the phone after hanging up, a mix of hope and suspicion swirling. 5 years of silence, and now this. I'd built a life she'd never acknowledged yet. Part of me wondered if she'd finally seen my success. But deep down, I knew better. Her call wasn't about reconciliation. It was about control. Something bigger was coming, and I was walking right into it. Driving 7 hours from Seattle to Riverton, I wrestled with why I was even going. The call from my mom had stirred up old hopes, but suspicion gnawed at me. I chose a sharp blazer and slacks, professional enough to signal I wasn't the reckless teen she remembered. Pulling into my parents' driveway, the house looked unchanged. Neat lawn, white shutters across on the door. My sister's car, a modest hatchback, was parked out front. I rang the bell feeling like a stranger at my own childhood home. My mom opened the door, her smile tight. "Come in," she said, ushering me to the dining room where my dad and sister sat. The table was set with her usual precision, polished silverware, a centerpiece of lilies. No one mentioned my life in Seattle. Conversations stuck to safe topics: weather, church news, Angela's teaching job. I kept waiting for the real reason I was there. After dessert, my mom cleared her throat. "So, Stephanie, you make money pushing women to flaunt their independence," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. I froze fork midair. "I help women tell their stories through marketing," I replied, keeping my tone even. She scoffed. "It's filthy encouraging sin over family values." Before I could argue, she stood. "This house doesn't welcome your influence. Leave." Her words cut deeper than I expected. My dad looked at his plate, silent. Angela's eyes darted between us, anxious. I grabbed my purse, heart pounding with anger and hurt, and walked out. The door slammed, echoing in the quiet night. I checked into Riverton's only motel, a rundown place with flickering lights. Sleep didn't come. Why invite me just to attack? The question looped in my mind, fueling my resolve to find out. I stayed in town for a week, working remotely and digging into those forum posts from before. Monica, my assistant, helped me cross-reference IPs and church member lists. Nothing concrete, but the sabotage felt personal. On day 6, Angela texted asking to meet at a diner off the highway. She slipped into the booth across from me, looking pale, her hands fidgeting. "It wasn't just about your job," she whispered, glancing over her shoulder. "It's about me and Kyle." Kyle, her husband of 2 years, was a youth pastor, the kind of guy my mom adored. Clean-cut, devout, perfect on paper. Angela hesitated, then spoke. "Kyle's been controlling. He got into risky investments, lost everything, and took it out on me." Her voice cracked. "It's been bad, Steph. The stress, it's made me sick. I've got a heart condition now." My stomach dropped. Sick how I pressed. She explained chest pains, doctor visits, a diagnosis tied to chronic anxiety from Kyle's behavior. "Mom knows," she added. "She's been raising money at church, saying I need $100,000 for treatment." I leaned forward. $100,000 for what exactly? Angela's eyes filled with tears. "That's the thing. I don't need that much. The meds and visits are covered. Mom's exaggerating it, using my name to get donations." The pieces clicked. My mom's call wasn't about my sister's health. It was a scam. I contacted Monica, who dug into public church records. She found donation logs listing Angela's medical fund, with thousands funneled to accounts tied to my mom's name. A quick search uncovered fake medical reports, forged signatures, inflated costs, emailed to church members for sympathy. Worse, Kyle was in on it. Monica pulled bank transfers showing he'd siphoned funds to cover his investment debts. My mom wasn't just manipulating me for money. She was exploiting Angela's pain for her own gain, hiding behind her holy facade. I sat in my motel room staring at the evidence on my laptop. Anger surged sharper than when she'd called my work filthy. This wasn't just about control or judgment. It was fraud, plain and simple. Angela was trapped, her health crumbling under Kyle's abuse, while my mom profited. I thought of the stolen college fund, the online lies, and now this. Enough was enough. We're exposing her, I told Monica over the phone, my voice steady with purpose. At the church fundraiser next week. She's speaking there, boasting about her charity. That's our chance. Monica agreed, already pulling more records. I met Angela again, promising to get her out safely. She was scared, but resolute, handing me Kyle's old emails to my mom detailing their plan. The betrayal burned, but it fueled me. I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for my sister. As the fundraiser approached, I started planning how to turn my mom's own stage against her. The morning after Angela's revelation, my phone lit up with my mom's number again. I stared at it, the motel's dim light casting shadows on the screen. Her voice came through softer than at the dinner, but still calculated. "Stephanie, I hope you've thought about your sister's needs," she said as if nothing had happened. "She's counting on you." My jaw clenched. The evidence of her fraud, fake medical reports, siphoned donations, burned in my mind. Dirty money can't save people. I said, my voice sharp and final, before hanging up. I wasn't playing her game anymore. This wasn't about helping Angela. It was about exposing Denise's lies and getting my sister out of danger. I drove to a coffee shop outside Riverton to meet Angela, who looked drained but determined. She'd brought more proof emails between Kyle and my mom outlining how they'd inflated her heart condition to milk church donations. "Kyle's been pushing me to stay quiet." She admitted, her voice low. "He says it's for the family's reputation." I squeezed her hand. "We're done with that. You're getting out, and we're taking them down." Monica joined us, her laptop open with spreadsheets of donation logs she'd hacked from public church records. We had enough to prove Denise and Kyle were pocketing thousands with Angela's health as their excuse. Back at the motel, I called my parents' house insisting on a meeting. That evening, I walked into their living room, the same one where Denise had thrown me out. She sat rigid at the head of the table, my dad beside her, his face tired. Angela hovered near me, nervous but staying. "I know about the donations," I started, holding up printed bank transfers. "You've been using Angela's name to scam the church." Denise's eyes narrowed. "How dare you accuse me of deceit in my own home?" she snapped. "Everything I've done is to protect this family's standing." My dad shifted uncomfortably. "Stephanie, maybe there's a misunderstanding," he mumbled, but Denise cut him off. "There's no misunderstanding. If you don't help your sister with the money, you're no longer part of this family." Her ultimatum didn't faze me. "You're not protecting anyone," I said, my voice steady. "You're exploiting Angela's pain for your own gain. I'm not giving you a cent." Denise stood, her face red. "Get out and don't come back." Angela grabbed my arm, whispering, "I'm with you." My dad said nothing, his silence louder than ever. As we left, I knew this was the last time I'd step foot in that house. The fight was on, and I wasn't backing down. Monica and I spent the next week building our case. Angela handed over Kyle's laptop password, revealing more emails where he bragged about covering his investment losses with church funds. Monica cross-checked them with bank records confirming transfers to his accounts. We found a forged doctor's note claiming Angela needed experimental treatment costing $100,000, a lie to justify the fundraising. I contacted a domestic violence hotline following their advice to secure a protective order for Angela. They connected us with a local advocate who agreed to help her relocate safely once we acted. The church fundraiser was in 3 days a big event where Denise would speak about her charitable efforts. It was the perfect stage. I told Monica my plan: pretend to offer a donation to get close, then expose Denise mid-speech with our evidence. Monica designed a slideshow, screenshots of emails, bank logs, the fake medical note, ready to project on the church's screen. Angela insisted on helping, recording a short statement about Kyle's controlling behavior and how Denise used her illness for profit. "I want them to hear my voice," she said, her eyes fierce. I nodded, proud of her strength. To seal the trap, I needed Kyle's confession. I called him, arranging a meeting at a park 2 towns over, away from prying eyes. He showed up disheveled, his usual polished pastor look gone. "Where's Angela?" he demanded, his voice edgy. "Safe," I said, holding up my phone already recording. "I know about the donations, Kyle, the emails, the fake reports, your debts. His face paled. "You can't prove anything," he stammered. I played a clip of Angela's statement, her voice shaking as she described his control. "Sign a statement admitting your part, or this goes to the police," I said. He hesitated, then grabbed the pen I offered, scribbling a confession. "You're ruining everything," he muttered. "No," I replied. "You did that yourself." Back in my motel room, Monica and I rehearsed the plan. She'd handle the projector cueing the slides when I gave the signal. I'd interrupt Denise's speech posing as a donor to get the mic, then reveal everything. Angela would stay hidden until the protective order was filed, keeping her safe from Kyle. We tested the slideshow, double-checked the audio, and practiced my opening lines to ensure no slip-ups. The evidence was ironclad. No one could deny it. Monica grinned. "She's going down hard," she said. I felt a rush of adrenaline, not just for me, but for Angela, who deserved freedom from this mess. 3 days later, the fundraiser night arrived. I walked into the church hall, blending in with the crowd of Riverton locals. Denise was on stage, all smiles, talking about her selfless work for Angela's health. My pulse raced as I clutched the USB with our evidence, ready to turn her moment of glory into her downfall. Monica nodded from the tech booth, slides prepped. As Denise's speech hit its peak, praising her faith-driven charity, I stepped toward the stage, heart pounding, ready to strike. The church hall buzzed with Riverton locals, their chatter filling the air as folding chairs scraped against the wooden floor. Denise stood on stage, her smile polished, delivering a speech about her tireless work to save my sister's health. She held up a photo of Angela, claiming every donation went to her medical bills. I stood near the back, USB drive in my pocket, my heart hammering. Monica gave me a nod from the tech booth, her finger hovering over the projector controls. This was it. The moment to tear down her facade. As Denise paused for applause, I stepped forward, raising my hand. "I'd like to say something," I called out, my voice cutting through the crowd. Heads turned. Denise's smile faltered, but she couldn't refuse without looking suspicious. "Of course, Stephanie," she said, handing me the mic. I took the stage, facing the sea of familiar faces, neighbors, churchgoers, people who'd trusted her. "I'm here to support my sister's cause." I began, my tone calm but firm. "But first, you all deserve the truth." Monica hit the switch, and the projector lit up with our slideshow. The first slide showed Angela's forged medical report, claiming $100,000 for treatments she didn't need. Gasps rippled through the room. I clicked to the next. Bank records of donations funneled to Denise's personal account. "This isn't charity," I said, my voice steady. "It's fraud." I played Angela's recorded statement, her voice trembling as she described Kyle's controlling behavior and how Denise exaggerated her heart condition to scam the church. The crowd murmured, some clutching their programs in shock. The final slide revealed Kyle's signed confession, admitting he'd helped siphon funds to cover his failed investments. Denise lunged for the mic, her face red. "This is a lie," she shouted. Stephanie's twisting everything to ruin me, but the evidence was undeniable. A church elder stood demanding answers. "Is this true?" Denise, he asked. She stammered, her holy image crumbling. I stepped back, letting the crowd's outrage take over. People shouted questions, some tearful, others angry. One woman, a longtime donor, threw her program at the stage. "You used us!" she yelled. Monica switched off the projector as the hall erupted in chaos. By the next morning, the fallout was swift. The church board stripped Denise of her elder position, demanding all donations be refunded. Longtime friends turned their backs, whispering as they passed her in town. Kyle was arrested, charged with fraud and domestic abuse after Angela's statement and protective order went through. She moved to a safe house arranged by the advocate, her health stabilizing with proper care. My dad called once, his voice heavy. "I didn't know it was this bad," he said, but I cut him off. "You let it happen, Dad. We're done." I hung up feeling no regret. There was no going back. 6 months later, Angela settled into a small apartment in Seattle, a short drive from mine. She started therapy, working through the trauma of Kyle's control and our family's betrayal. She enrolled in a community college marketing course inspired by my work and began a blog about her journey to rebuild. Her posts were raw, honest, drawing readers who saw themselves in her story. I helped her with branding, watching her confidence grow. My own agency thrived, landing a national campaign for a women's empowerment nonprofit. The success felt sweeter knowing Denise's lies couldn't touch me anymore. I never spoke to my parents again. Denise sent one letter claiming I'd destroyed the family. I didn't reply. Angela got a similar note, but she burned it, saying it felt like closure. My dad stayed silent, too weak to break from Denise's grip. I'd hoped he might reach out, but his absence proved he'd chosen her side. The cut was clean, final. I felt no guilt, only relief, a weight lifted after years of their control. My victory wasn't just exposing Denise, it was reclaiming my life and Angela's free from their shadow. Looking back, I learned something critical: when family betrays you with lies and manipulation, justice is the only way to take back control. Denise thought she could shame me into submission using Angela's pain for her own gain. But exposing her showed me that truth is stronger than facade. You don't have to stay loyal to people who hurt you, even if they're family. Prioritizing self-respect and protecting those you love, that's what matters. This story is a warning. Watch for signs of fraud or control, whether it's fake charity schemes or someone using guilt to trap you. If something feels off, dig deeper. Find allies, gather evidence, and don't be afraid to walk away from toxic ties. The National Domestic Violence Hotline can help if you're facing abuse. I've seen it save lives. Trust your instincts and don't let manipulation define you. Thanks for listening to my story. It's been a journey from betrayal to victory, and I'm stronger for it. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more stories like mine and drop a comment below with your own experiences. How have you stood up to family betrayal? Let's share and keep these truths alive.